Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us two wonderful entrepreneurs, Mr. Varun Bellugappa and Mr. Harsha Teja, who are the co-founders of Teacher with an extra R. So, hi Varun and Harsha, welcome to Entrepreneur Lounge of India.
Hi.
Yeah, hi Priya. Thank you so much for having us here.
Yeah, same here.
Both of you would request both of you to introduce yourself to our audience. We'll start with Varun.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Varun. I run teacher.in along with my co-founder Harsha. So and I take care of community growth and BD a teacher. And I come from an engineering background where after that I started working for startups and community and growth is something that I have been associated with it. So yeah, this is a brief about myself.
Harsha.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Harsha. I'm co-founder of Teacher.in, where my respective positions are taking care of product and tech. So I've been associated earlier with few technology-based startups and also a few IT-based companies where my role was oriented towards data science and product analysis as well. And yeah, I think that's it.
Uh, Tell us a bit about your venture. What is Teacher about?
Sure. So, Teacher is a professional network for K-12 teachers where teachers can connect with fellow teachers, exchange ideas and resources, attend professional development sessions, upskill themselves, build a brand, and leverage that particular brand to find jobs and other opportunities. So, we are a global community platform of teachers being used by teachers from 9 countries currently. And we have trained over 5,000 teachers during the lockdown. So we are basically into three different aspects: the networking, the training, upskilling, and the job aspect for teachers.
So, if you were to explain your company or your venture in a single line, or what is your problem statement? What is the single problem you are solving?
So we're building a professional network for teachers because teachers have essentially, three different problems when you classify it from the teacher perspective. One is that they do not have access to a peer learning community where they can share their ideas. The greatest ideas are often restricted to the four walls of the classroom. The second aspect is that with jobs and branding, teachers find it very difficult to build a personal brand by themselves and leverage that particular brand to find jobs and opportunities. And the third aspect is that continuous professional development as opportunities for teachers are very, very limited. So given, even in the current situation, right, when the entire spectrum of, on teaching has shifted digital, a lot of teachers have actually struggled because there was no continuous development opportunities for them to upskill themselves on the tech front. So essentially, these are the three areas that our particular platform solves, and we are trying to solve it via a community angle. So we're building a professional network where all this peer-to-peer learning and interaction can happen amongst teachers. They can exchange ideas and resources, and they can attend professional development sessions. Like we conduct a lot of these training sessions where they can, upskill themselves over various different aspects, be it pedagogy, be it technology, be it management skills and stuff. And it also involves certification, so they can leverage the certificate to find jobs and other opportunities again on the platform. So it's a complete full stack platform for teachers.
May I oversimplify or rephrase the things you said? You are building LinkedIn for teachers.
Correct, absolutely.
Okay. So now I would like to know what are the different values you provide to the teacher community. I think you already mentioned a few of them. One is a professional network, and also the creating a personal brand. Apart from that, what else?
So yeah, there are only the three aspects that we work on. One is that they can upskill themselves, they can network with their peers, they find jobs and other opportunities. So these are the three value use cases from the platform.
Hmm. And having said that, how do you see the teacher industry, or what? How do I define this? The learning industry evolving in coming days. What would be the roles of teachers in coming days? I think COVID has played a huge role in changing the education industry, and nowadays. teachers are going online and starting their webinars and all. They're trying to change the way they depart the learning. So impart the learning. So how do you see in coming days the teaching industry evolve?
Yeah, sure. So definitely, COVID has actually pushed a lot of teachers on the online front. So majority of them were not exposed to this area. So right now, the good opportunity here is that every single teacher from any remote part of the world can teach any student at any place. There's no limitation with regards to boundaries. So it is a great opportunity for teachers to, make the most out of it. And again, when they make the most out of it, the most essential, important elements that stand out for a teacher would be the brand image, the skills that they have to find all these opportunities. So yeah, I would definitely say that the industry is, very good for teachers right now who upskill themselves and, become a global educator, because the opportunity is right in front of them. It is all about how they can, make the most out of it.
Okay. Now let's come to the personal side of being an entrepreneur. First, I would like to start with by asking, when did you think of building a venture of your own? Would like to start with Harsha.
Yeah, so we had a first idea when we were in our third years during an undergrad in VIT University. That's when we started our first startup, which was based on automotive industry. That's when we actually got into startups and the culture and how this entrepreneurs engagement works. Then later we got into a lot of other stuff, which involve a lot of startups and different, people who have achieved really at a good scale in the entrepreneur journey. They taught us many things. So our very initial part was starting from a third year. The startup was called as Miraka. Thereafter, we understood that there were a lot of skills that we were lacking. So then we thought, okay, so maybe it's a time where we have to learn actually from people who have successfully built companies or at least have scaled companies to a huge scale now. That's when I and Varun personally decided that, okay, we'll be honing our skills in these particular industries and these particular parts of the startup environment. And that's when I went and worked for a few startups and companies. The same happened to Varun as well. Then later we merged together our entire ideas and problem statements that were available at that point of time. And yeah, we thought, okay, so I think right now we are in a situation where we can get going.
How was the first day of entrepreneurship?
See, I think entrepreneurial journey is like something like a firefighting on each and every day. It's like you face a lot of problems each and every day. There's no one particular day as in, which you particularly remember. But I would say it's a typical journey. There's no doubt about that. But it's a really fun journey when you really like it. I mean, there's a lot of things happening, so there isn't any time for you to get bored or any time to really spend on other things. So it's really fun.
Okay. My question to both of you, what is your vision when it comes to teacher, and how far have you reached in implementing that vision?
Great. So we intend to be a global, networking platform for teachers, and currently, we have a community of 10,000 plus teachers from 9 different countries using the platform. This is what we have achieved, but there's a long way to go. I think the COVID has presented itself a great opportunity for a teaching segment, a niche like this. So it is all about ensuring that how much value we can actually provide to the target audience and build further on. So yeah, we are in probably the baby steps of the journey, but there's a long way to go.
So as we mutually agreed that you are building something similar to LinkedIn for teacher community. So having said that, why teachers not use LinkedIn itself to build their professional brand, as well as there is some learning opportunities as well in LinkedIn. Why not LinkedIn? Why should they have a separate network?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very nice question. And see, the problem is that LinkedIn actually serves all the purpose, but a professional network would add value when your community is there. If your community is not there, it wouldn't really add value. And LinkedIn is a very horizontal based platform where there's no niche specific need, or where I can directly interact. And at least with the teacher community, a lot of teacher community is not available on LinkedIn, partially because again there's no peer network, there's no access to a community, and all of these issues have paved up for them not adopting the digital medium. However, there are other teaching based communities on other platforms. I would definitely say they're not, but the idea is that from via our platform we would want to offer all the different use cases at one platform, where the networking opportunities are there at the same time. When the community access is there, that is where the network would also be built. If the community access is not there, the network would not give any value, right? So if my peer community is the most important aspect here.
Right. What is your take on that, Harsha?
I think Varna's just correct. Just to add a few points on it, it's just that we are having a lot of personalization towards the education industry. LinkedIn right now has multiple industries in it, where even IT guy, even a startup guy, even an educator, anyone can actually get in and talk about things which most often are not really relevant towards what an educationist is or what an educator is looking forward to. But on our platform, we make sure that all the content or all the whatever activities that we are trying to do in our platform is really engaging for an educator, either to help him or her to develop their careers or their ambitions of achieving new heights in their career as well.
So the elements you mentioned in your platform, learning is one element in that. Then there is a forum or a community that you're building, and the three statements you made, all of those elements are available in LinkedIn. What are the difference
Absolutely.
that you are building? What is the USP of your platform? For example, there is a similar community for startups. It's called AngelList. So it has some of the elements that required for startups, but that is not there in the LinkedIn. So similarly, what are those unique things that your platform has that LinkedIn doesn't has?
Yeah. So when you talk about the product front, ideally I would say that we have arrived at this particular product based on the user feedback and what the user requires at this point. Going forward, there would definitely be a lot of different use cases for the teachers on the platform, with regards to discoverability and stuff. But ideally, I would say that at this point of time, if we talk about the USP, I would say it is a strong need for a community, and the essence where community is available. If that is not available, a professional network would not really add any value. For example, like if AngelList is a niche focused on startups, and precisely you find a lot of value on AngelList because you can reach out to a lot of different angels in the community, where these people are also available on other platforms, but the access is more on AngelList. At the same time, when you talk about discoverability of startups and stuff, all of them, again, when you talk about the similar use cases on the product front, they're not different. But what are the different focus areas here for the different product would be having the user base or of the relevant set of people who would be based on the platform. So I would say that if we talk about that is there, that would be the part where this access is there, because these teachers do not have access to such other teachers on any other platform. So because again, it involves all the other reasons that I mentioned. So this would be the ideal answer if I have to answer you. But this is from a very community perspective. If I'd like Harsha to add anything if we have.
Okay.
No, I think you have summed it up really well.
Teachers typically, teachers from universities, they tend to have access to a huge amount of resources in terms of research papers and industry journals and all. Do you intend to integrate those elements in your platform as well?
Yeah, so currently we're focused on the K-12 segment of teachers. But yes, going forward, we intend to become a global educator community, like I mentioned. So when I say educator, it includes three different categories. One is the K-12 teachers, one is the professors and lecturers, and one is the hobby set of educators who are not necessarily from B.Ed or M.Ed academic backgrounds, but they teach because they're good at it, and it is also they're extremely passionate about it. So these are the three different community. These are the three different focus areas that we define in the educator segment. Currently, we're focused on the K-12, but yes, as we keep scaling further with to other segments of this educator community, we would definitely add the relevant features.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Harsha?
Yeah. So I think probably as just like what Varun has emphasized, just to add to it that we usually launch features or whatever it is based on the amount of milestone that we achieve. Right now, it's not been more than 8 months that we have released our website officially, and we have like around 11,000 educators on our platform. So we have initially taken a K-12 segment as one, which we will probably scale up to an extent. Then later we'll probably, as Varun said, we will be going to the faculty, professors, and lecturers, and then the hobbyist part. And eventually, as we go on hitting our milestones and go on hitting our what do you call, adding few new educators to our community, that's when we'll be releasing new features which are dedicated towards educator, which are not usually so prevalent in LinkedIn, which is provided for an overall community of professionals rather than educators.
Okay.
In ours, it's only for educators. Yeah.
Uh, uh, we have talked about the features. Let's talk about the benefits of the platform. When I go to LinkedIn, if I am a person who is looking for jobs, new jobs, then I find it on LinkedIn. That is one value or one benefit I get from LinkedIn. Then there is a possibility to build a network. I network with other like-minded people. For example, if I want to build a startup someday, I'll find my co-founder or my core team on LinkedIn. If I am an angel investor, I will find different startups to invest in from LinkedIn. So similarly, what are the different benefits a typical teacher will get from your platform?
Yeah. So I would like to answer this question with sort of examples, maybe, so that we could also validate their use case. So there are several different teachers in the community who have like the first part is the networking aspect. So where teachers don't have access to a peer learning network. So a lot of teachers on the platform come up with brilliant resources, brilliant content, amazing worksheets and resources, but they don't get a platform to share it with, and share their learnings with other teachers of the community. So we have a lot of teachers from remote areas in the northeast of India, in villages from Kerala and Karnataka, who keep who have continued sharing amazing content on the platform, and they have built a brand within the teacher community. So this is one story that I could say. The second aspect is that we have helped over uh, even totally we have helped over 550 plus teachers find jobs in the last 8 months, and in all the different companies. So ideally, teachers had jobs where they had 300% hike in their salaries and their annual salaries, because they started applying to a lot of these tech companies which are not accessible earlier. So and then we started onboarding different high paying teaching jobs and stuff. So a lot of teachers had over 550 plus teachers have got placed by the platform. And on the similar note, on the training front, a lot of teachers usually what we do is that we train and we help them with the job segments, right? So with regards to continuous professional development activities, a lot of teachers really found it difficult during, immediately when the lockdown started, because digital, online teaching had actually hit them at a very sudden note. It was unexpected, right? And teachers are not ready with the tools and the resources. So we have trained over 5,000 plus teachers during the lockdown on various different digital tools, on management strategies, and on different innovative pedagogical teaching. And all the teachers have effectively taught during the lockdown without any issue. So what I'm trying to iterate here is that these are three different use cases that for a teacher, and these are extremely focused towards their upskilling and their development and their individual branding. And we've also, through the community as well, we have connected a lot of teachers from different countries as well. So we have various teachers sharing from Mexico, Peru, and Saudi, Kuwait, sharing wonderful innovative resources. And this culture, this community that we are trying to build here is focused on all these different aspects. So yeah, this I would say is what the platform is trying to accomplish.
What are the pain points of teachers in present day?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, there are three main pain points that a teacher faces. One is lack of access to continuous professional development, lack of access to a community, and lack of access to brand building and leveraging the brand to find jobs and opportunities. Now, COVID has basically accelerated this entire opportunity because, like I had earlier mentioned, every teacher can now become a global teacher, and it is all of a matter of how well they leverage the brand. So these are the different problem statements that educators currently in all different segments are facing, and we're trying to solve it for K-12 first, like I mentioned, and our focus is currently on that.
Now I have only 3 questions left, and we are almost up with the time. First question is, what are the challenges you faced along the way while building this venture?
Okay, great. So yeah, so like I had mentioned, we have like Harsha had rightly mentioned, we keep firefighting every day, every single day is a challenge. But when we talk about the major different challenges that we faced initially, we had to conduct a lot of these online, offline based events when we first started off to first understand if there's a community angle here. And that was, that was first challenging because we did not understand, why people were not had access to, why were not people moving to the digital front and stuff. In addition to that, again, in the regular part on the tech front, we had initially struggled. And then, with regular startup struggles, I would say, with regards to, ensuring funds and ensuring, online digitalization of teachers. So these are the, various things I would say. But yeah.
How did you recruit your core team?
Our core team, so we first started off with friends, so that is our bigger network, I would feel. And I think this is something that is extremely underrated. You have to get in people whom you I would say blindly trust, because at the end of the day, if you are not if you don't have that, things will never move. So we had first started off, so luckily we had a friend from our senior from college who had actually helped us out initially with the infrastructure and stuff. And from there, we started building the team. We started first building more on the tech front, and then on the operations front. So, yeah.
I have only 2 questions left. First question is, how do you suggest our audience to start their journey as entrepreneurs?
So I'd rather say that it's not you don't start looking out for problems to solve. I think that when you're curious enough, you automatically stumble upon various a problem, and the world is filled with problems. So there are thousands of opportunities out there. And if you consciously keep looking, I don't think that is the way. It is more like you have to first like that market, and maybe then explore for different opportunities there. And they're definitely so. The world is filled with opportunities. The world is filled with inefficient solutions that require efficiency. So and yeah, so if I would say that if you are looking out for starting a venture, I would say that don't consciously look for it. Start looking out for problems, and you will stumble upon it. And once when you fall, if you are really excited about the problem, you'll end up solving it. Or if it is just another problem, yeah, it will remain unsolved. So yeah.
Harsha, you want to add?
Yeah, sure. So I think being entrepreneurship is kind of an attitude where you are really excited to solve many things on day-to-day basis itself. So just like how Varun mentioned, it's not like you consciously go and search out for problems. There are enough problems in the entire world, I think. So I think it's just that sit on the solution properly and figure out what are the ways to solve it, and never give up. So you will come across problems and situations on day-to-day basis, but make sure you never give up. There's always a solution for some or the other thing. It's just that few things take time and few things take a huge amount of efforts when compared to others. That's it.
One question I forgot to ask, or rather, due to time constant, I couldn't ask, is what is the dynamics between co-founders? How do you convince your co-founder to, join your vision, and how do you get started together? How it works? Can any of you throw some light on it?
Yeah. I would like to add my point, and then I think Harsha would also tell his. This thing.
Mm.
So I've known Harsha for like the last, like we've been roommates since college. We're just people who liked doing stuff. But I would say that actually it was Harsha who brought me on board. So we stumbled on the problem, but he was somebody who was really more he understood the problem statement required, and yes, so ideally I would say that it is about having that right person, I'd say, because ideally without a team, without a co-founder, nothing is ever possible. There's too much to do, and it's very important to work as your strengths are, as your core skills are, and that is where the distribution mechanism works efficiently in terms when you have a co-founder who takes right of fee. And the other aspect is that when you have somebody whom you've known for a very long time, it is definitely much more better, because you cannot start something with an absolute stranger. It requires you to be extremely comfortable with the other person, and if you've known somebody for a long time, there are better chances that the team would work efficiently.
Hmm.
True. Yeah, so even for very first venture, which is Merak, I and Varun were co-founders in that, and we luckily won few accolades for those as well. So I would just like to add a few points that yes, you definitely have to have a quick co-founder if it's really a complex problem that you're trying to solve, and there are many things to do on a daily basis. So I don't think it's only one guy can really be able to solve all those. And if at all you have any complementary skill co-founder who has other different skill sets, just like how I probably take care of product and tech, and I am not really sure of what community and all these things are, not in the way that one understands at least. So I think it's really important to have a co-founder who is having a set of complementary skills that you are having, and also to build that personal connect. It's much more important is what I feel, because there are a lot of decisions that you take on a regular basis. So I think it's much better if there's someone who is having kind of a similar vision that you are having, and who's always saying the same things like, are we in a right track, or are the metrics or are the KPIs really on the same lines that we intend to achieve in. So I think it is very important to have a co-founder of complementary skill sets.
Okay. My last question, what is your final message to potential entrepreneurs of this country? Please answer it in 2 or 3 lines max.
Yeah, Harsha would like to go first.
Yeah, sure. So I think, see, there are a lot of opportunities in here. I don't think there's any reason for you to stop, or any reason for you to think twice before getting in. It's just that make sure whatever you're getting in, you give your fullest efforts, and make sure you're having the right team, because team, so companies are built or startups are built by people. It's not the other way. It's just an entity which holds people together. So I think team is very, very, very important for any company to scale itself, or any idea to actually hit the market. And make sure you go in a sequential wise. Don't really jump into the solution. Understand what the user needs are, try to get it with an MVP, and then which is minimum viable product, and then get on with the original stuff of building things for the real market. So this is my only suggestion.
Varun?
Yeah, very rightly said. So I would also like to add a couple of points here. So I think that if the problem really excites you, it won't make you sleep. So so find something like that, and I am pretty sure we have thousands of problems. So there's no death of problems, but I would say there's death of motivation to work towards it. We keep getting ideas all the time, but it's all about holding on to that and working towards it, because ideally we keep jumping from one thing to the other, or we keep giving up way too easily. I think if you stay there, be a little more, have a little more persistence. I think and you can work over the problem. There is definitely a great scope. Again, given all the conditions. So yes, this would be my thoughts.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure to host both of you at ELI. I think our audience would have got lifetime lessons from this video. Thanks for your time, Varun and Harsha, and our best wishes for teacher.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for the opportunity, Priya.
Viewers, you can follow Varun and Harsha on LinkedIn. Do let me know in comments below whom do you want to have here at ELI. We will be back before you know it. Stay tuned to Entrepreneur Launch of India.